had the experience of walking down the street, minding your own business, and a stranger sneak attacks you and asks,
"Howdy!"
Never dreamed that it could be like
There's a canary choir that cracks the earth to sing.
I was fooling myself.
Confess that the day he died.
Torched lives extinguished.
naturally head bopping, mind marveling.
Right in the sweet spot in a kite of jagged teeth.
The snap of ropes and cackling, little girls playing double dutch.
This is called Little Tit.
There is no doubt that all human conflicts.
Projects in front of me, projects behind. You told me once that this moment.
A woman started humming to an animal's call.
Is Portland, Oregon in the house?
I want to replace the words that make us all cringe to
A trumpet is a feather, brushing a nipple.
Hard-tied, man, we got the lifeline of genocide and we can stop this.
Where each scar came from, and I still want you there.
Like a hive of tender bees.
6,000 revolutions before this moment. Ooh, he sounds like Barry White meets Marvin Gaye.
had the experience of walking down the street, minding your own business, and a stranger sneak attacks you and asks, "Have you found Jesus?" Me too. Almost weekly. I have tried to ignore these individuals. I have tried barking, "No." I have tried crossing the street, but these responses often escalate the situation into something highly unpleasant. So now I have developed a technique to deal with these folks, and I choose to out-Jesus them. I'll show you. "Have you found Jesus?" one will ask. Now I'll say, "Have I? He is right here," as I point to my heart, and then I ask back, "Are you still looking for him?" This is usually when the stranger who first approached me looking for the Lord doesn't know what to say. I know this because they may freeze in place, take a step back, their jaws stuck in the open position, and their eyes desperately searching for an answer, so they just offer a "Praise God" or "Amen." I will match their offering of praise and throw out a hallelujah. At this point, the stranger may become mistrusting of my sincerity and could follow up with something like, "Oh, the Lord is good for me." I am ready for this type of statement. And not to be out-Jesus myself, I'll say, "Amen do I know. I was in that dark place a few years ago. You know the one. I was settling into my bottom, feeling dirty, surrounded by my sins, when I felt the warmth of the Lord's love wrap around me like a blanket. And that's when I realized that even though I hadn't been looking for the Lord, he found me." Now in my mind, I am thinking, "Bam! Out-Jesus that. You have to look for the Lord, but he found me." However, physically I'm just smiling, bobbing my head with my eyes gazing above. With nothing left to say, the stranger shouts a few, bless you, God is good." Sometimes for emphasis, the stranger will throw their hands into the air as they begin to walk away from me. I show my celebration by skipping in place and shouting, "Great!" The stranger thinks I am correcting them by saying, "God isn't good, he is great." But for me, I think it is great to have a new verb in my vocabulary, out-Jesus, and a new effective strategy for interactions that used to frustrate me, but now feel fun. After the stranger is far from view, I raise my hands to the universe and thank it for the gift of sarcasm.
I saw you motherfuckers jump. Don't try to act cool. All right, so this is the poem. It's like a twisted fairy tale of Adam and Eve. Dig it. You know, Eve, before you, life in Eden was a lot simpler. There were fist-sized fruits, water balloon ripe, dripping from every tree. The sun smiling into the writhing waters of the Red Sea. Butterfly-filled kaleidoscope breezes were flowing over green silk grass carpeting. Long days of doing nothing but titling the artist's newest creations. It was routine and unsatisfying. He told me stories of existing within the void, making me within himself for company. Unfortunately, the spark it took to force breath into clay carries many unforeseeable consequences, like snakes and curiosities. I was my father's first child. I soon gained self-awareness, being the only one of my kind, my wine-sacked stomach knew the sickly fullness of too much. Before cancer had a constellation to call shoreline, it was you, beating through my skin. God offered a problem, my heart's favorite rib, create a lover-shaped hole in my chest, but fill the trace space made from fingertips touching with pieces of the very bone that gently listened to my heartbeat's first whispered rhythms. Ground stardust fine, reconstructed to the tune of Venus. The artist compromisingly crafted another reflection so at least one of us could exist who'd never know being lonely. And that was my job. When I heard the thunderclap, we'd only been apart a few moments that day. It wasn't fair. People learn about forked tongues only after dealing with them. It wasn't your fault. We both wanted to be wise like God before you came. I took a bite of the forbidden fruit too. It's how I figured out I was alone in the first place. I knew we were naked this whole time. It's one of the reasons I always asked you to jump for the high fruits and gather berries at the bottoms of the bushes. I can't help myself. You were made for me. We've never had to question being soulmates. Now we love so much like God it makes him jealous. I bet one day he even writes a commandment about it. My love, let him keep eternity. And I'll die in your lap, head back, your eyes guiding my descent into ether. I'll remember first discovering how our pieces fit, learning sensations of life swelling in your belly, the figure of your consciousness ripening in your vessel, the longing to touch them to your lips, more than cage them in your ribs. Let us teach our children that Eden was all rules and gates. We'll rewrite the history on the walls of caves saying we escaped. The pain of thorns on my feet will only spur smiles, knowing when I left God, the best thing he ever made came attached to my palm. My dearest Eve, God does not know what he let go of. And I will not make that same mistake. I'm not upset with you. This is our genesis. I know now that we are human, imperfect and beautiful, scratched mirrors playing as the reflection we were once, are now, and will forever be one. Beyond the day that our clay settles back into earth, we will always have our story. Besides, if life were perfect, it would be fucking boring and thus imperfect. Let us leave Eden to God. We have a world to create.
Cold, like February icicles, grown up now, so we ride bicycles through city parkways, pick you up some flowers. Yeah, I'm always nice to you, but in spite of who, I lied to you. But only at the start. I loved you to prove that she didn't break my heart. I loved you to prove I could turn pain into art. Sorry for fooling you. I was fooling myself too, without a thought as to what might ensue. Who knew? You knew. You love me still, our business as usual. Your patience wore thin with my affection on a diet. When I realized I loved you, it was too late to try it. You saw through to my bullshit like I was the cow's asshole. I woke up too late, so now my bed's cold. Oh no, the duet is now a one-man show, a solo, and I am so low. I'll admit, when we broke up, you had the last trick. You gave me 2 pennies to cross the river Styx. It was a go to hell, and let me help you get there. So when I go to heaven, I won't meet you on the stairs. Ouch. What the eyes never see, the hand never holds. With lack of physical, the mind always knows. 24 miles through the scape of my mind, a mile for every year that I've been alive. A fold in my brain for every time that I've cried, and a broken heart for times I felt too alive. Intact on the out, but bruised inside. Mostly because my skull is as thick as my hide. The one lone wolf, a lion who can't walk with my pride. I know you hate me, but the word is too harsh. Instead, love me backwards, like from the end to the start. Love me backwards, like paintbrushes erasing art. Love me backwards, and when you're done, erase me from your mind. Love me backwards, just for wasting your time.
Love me backward.
Never dreamed that it could be like this. Never knew that I would never miss. I've been thinking about the way it was, how we used to share each other's love. I can feel you calling out to me. I can sense the love you really need. Don't know how it got to be this way, but I do know something's got to change. I wanna be there for you through the thick and thin, to the very end. So when you feel your need for love, reach out and call me. I wanna be by your side day and night through the rest of my life. So open up your heart for me. I'm coming back for you. I'm coming back just to give you my love. Loving you's the best thing I can do. I'm coming back just to give you my love. Loving you's the best thing I can do.
A baby is the best example. One old soul dies and is born to grow. And those trees' roots are so strong. Rhymer's roots are so strong. America is so strong. Everyone who don't belong is so strong. This song is so strong, and those with minds that flow like airplanes, they strong. Flying in the air, watch them go, they strong. Watching love flow from a kiss to a princess to a prince, love strong. This mind is so strong, been down for so long, time to say so long. We strong. The hip-hop cat with a microphone speaking monotone but showing emotion with quick cat lyrics. People, they strong. All who haven't fell victim, we strong. Us MCs with mental disease, we strong. The woman, single mother with no money who works 2 jobs and cries herself to sleep, she's strong. Cause she's got a newborn and she sings lullabies with tired eyes. And the baby smiles and falls asleep. He's strong and she's strong for not giving up, for keeping her head up when she walks. Those who speak through poetry, who speak truth, we the strongest. We survive. We persevere. And you who listen and don't blink or cringe to the truth that the MC brings, you the strongest. The strength that love brings makes your heart stop and start to sing. And damn it if I ain't sick of winter. Let's make it the rebirth of cool spoken truth, sung from the hearts of those who listen. Yeah. Stop the violence in the city streets, y'all.
Oh, come on now. Oh, I'm coming back just to give you my love. Loving you's the best thing I can do. I'm coming back just to give you my love. Loving you's the best thing I can do.
The hurricane of his voice comes to me like a melodic rhyme. The smell of his sex is my resurrection and rebirth. I gestate these dreams. I take this microphone in my hand as I speak my melodic truth. In the concerto of E minor, he sings to me skin to skin, flesh to flesh, souls emerging. Our spirits are constellations in navigation. We take to the Sahara Desert as we go into each other beyond the groaning. As we take the silence and I take the drink of his lips. I thirst myself, I quench myself in the flesh of my concave duress. These emerald stones inside of my mind has no rehabilitation as I shake in epileptic seizures over his voice. This epileptic seizure takes over me as I am schizophrenic with the desire of him. The memory of his ghost haunts me like a fan. I am chilled by his embrace. I am broken in silence and my brokenness comes to me like rain. I am healed, I am cleansed, I am resurrection. I am reborn.
Woo! I'm coming back just to give you my love. Loving you's the best thing I can do. I'm coming back just to give you my love. Loving you's the best thing I can do. I'm coming back
s'il vous plaît. I am right here, right now. Throwing insults only hurts yourself. Possessiveness and jealousy only ruins relationships. All or nothing is not good for you. Words matter. Truth is within. Softness is key. Choices are made. What are you at? Where are you is asked. I'm in my own skin, and all the while, life is a gift. My sorrow is not your sorrow, but it must be felt. It's compassion that counts. Don't change. Don't change, written in high school yearbooks. I remember, do you? When someone looks in your eyes and says, I know you, don't forget me. I'll always remember you. Don't forget me. Insults and bills are thrown at me, and all the while, life is a gift. When you insult someone, you only hurt yourself. Why comes into our minds? Some questions are just questions. What's the motive behind your questions? I am right here, right now. Life is a gift. Dandelions blow in the wind, intact and yet so fragile. Please RSVP. Respond, s'il vous plaît.
No. Come on. I'm coming back just to give you my love. Loving you's the best thing I can do. I'm coming back just to give you my love. Loving you's the best thing I can do.
You are still etched into the flesh walls of my heart. Not your name, not your smile, but you. All of you is still etched into the center of me with more permanence than a tattoo could ever give. But this etching is hidden away where you will not see. You are carved so deep into the inner walls of my heart that each pulse of blood is affected by your presence. Etched so deep that it bleeds. And it is a comforting illusion to think that somehow you are bleeding into me. Even though each pulse is excruciating, but it won't bring death. I will live with it till my passing, and it will hurt until it heals. But somehow I don't want it to heal, and so it won't. Not so long as my own well-being is my choice. Because while you were there, at least you will bleed into me where nobody can see. My most treasured memento of you.
I'm coming back. I'm coming back just to give you my love. Loving you's the best thing I can do. I'm coming back just to give you my love. Loving you's the best thing I can do. Hold on. Hold on. Yay, I'm coming back. Oh, I'm coming back just to give you my love. Loving you's the best thing I can do. Yeah.
He died 40 years ago, and I'm probably one of the only people in this room who got to see him. It's amazing. Yeah. Confess that the day he died, I and one of my closest friends shared a Fido de la Pata, the smoke as sweet as perfume, its pungency nodded to an American flag stenciled wrapping. What else? Like my friend smoking his smoking alongside me, Jimmy had been a member of the military's special forces. Jimmy had learned how to play his guitar in the army, didn't he? And he was our generation's master bluesman. So what's more American than the blues? He had this blues patrimony. I knew this when I saw him play Queens, NYC. Where else? His home was Chelsea. His stage presence I remember as more like magic, even prophecy. It was as if Nostradamus had showed up in all his rock and roll regalia. You know if Jimmy's tripping by the color of his hat. How do you explain that to posterity? Wild things, and the world was wild in those times. Blues was my religion. I knew who Blind Levin Jefferson was even before I was old enough to grow a mustache. 40 years ago, smoking our Fido de la Pata. How much of the world's joy did Jimmy take with him when he died? He could groan on a bass note, and a cat 2 miles away would purr. The moon would kiss the sky, and soft breezes would sweep across the pastel plains. Tree leaves would jingle, temple of bliss when he played. Cheerful, savage, buoyant, violent. He had his patrimony, Robert Johnson, Blind Levin Jefferson, Howlin' Wolf, John Lee Hooker, Muddy and the Royals, Albert and Beebe, and Bo and Willie Dixon and Chuck Berry. Jimmy could fell an eagle from the sky or send butterflies to the North Pole in December. Screaming his stolen moments he had seized like Rahsaan Roland Kirk, who sees into the deepest depths where eyes were hardly necessary. Rahsaan had suffered his stroke, still on stage, but he finished his set before he staggered into the shadows and died. How do you explain that to posterity? In the 80s, I'd get a reverent glare for his words. I saw him. In the 90s, I'd be scanned with suspicion. Old man would be whispered behind mine when I turned away. 40 years and Jimmy still thunders, rippling heat waves across the humble horizons. It's doubtful if 20-somethings have any idea of the time bomb he and Janus had detonated. The sky is still laced with red tint, but they are all gone now. Jimmy and Janice, Buddy, his working man's drummer, and Nolan Mitch. I knew about Blind Levin Jefferson even before I was old enough to grow a mustache. But Dolphy had warned us, when the music ends, it's over. The sound you heard, you can never hear again. Thank you.
To sing your ears and your mind with my springtime ringing. From the birds to the bees, watch them all take wing, while those sensitive to spirits start they muttering. While you specialize in song about dealing and stealing, I specialize in rhyme about seance and soul healing. I lead a mass council under moonlit nights, enchanting out a spell to reignite the northern lights. My shadow guard sleeps in the earth's darkest corners, then awaken at a whisper to blow up like transformers, just like circus performers. They got a tight wire cause they high-strung assassins trying to make you expire, but my feet greet the street with the rambling royal, shoes stained with the dust from a tomorrow of toil. I want to replant some hope in that washed out soil, so we can rise like the tide, bring to rise and boil. Hope is a feathery thing that's perched in my soul. I daily feed it my dreams, and like a cloud he grow till he gets so damn big that his wings they'll spread from a heart to heart, from head to head. Wheezy said life's a coaster and I'm down to ride. My man, we all together, let's get on the same size. I got power-packed phrases for all ages with astute misdirection like those old hedge mages, rearranging random readings like a ranting scholar. as white as winter wonderlands, but people holler. Come at me, keep your things strapped, cap to your hair, cause I'm the Duke of Delirium, I'm never there. Examine Elder Scrolls, understand what I be saying before the scales fade fast and the sky starts graying. Get down like a reverend down on one knee praying. Get down like a candle frame caught in the rain. And get down like you picking pennies off of the ground and put that style that you stole in the lost and found. Got a radiance, really only rivaled by Zeus, the little engine that could, and son, you just a caboose. Told to get into heaven, need the mind of a child. I got childlike wonder, it's a little too wild. My imaginary friends all wage epic battle while people shuffle through the streets like well-dressed cattle. I'm the Lone Ranger, ride far back in the saddle like the Colossus arose. When I stand, I straddle the world. I was born in the world, that's my home. Buried deep in my layers like a dinosaur's bone. You would think I'm from a future that's covered in chrome, man. Living off the land as a peerless Ronin. My style's barbaric, so they calling me Conan. Serving up raps and my stand is open. Business is booming and the people are grooving. I found some space on the moon, so I guess I'll be moving. My literary phrases are clearly eluding your undereducated mind. That's your own undoing. Time to wrap it up like you're going to bed. You drop $100 bills, I drop knowledge instead. So TLDR, you will not get far. You in a G6, but I'm on a shooting star, yeah.
Yes, yes. Matty Kells.
Managed care. Managed care is like pulling a rubber band around the Earth's circumference. An overextended slingshot ricocheting torched lives extinguished by a medicine dropper. Managed care is like removing aces and kings from a full deck and shuffling jokers wild in fields of vanishing admissions readied in fewer days. Slippery, like sand on a slide, while some person's life descends through an hourglass. Managed care is like suturing a heart cracked like the Gobi Desert, or catching a manic mind soaring lightning speed with a butterfly net. Ha! Crashed and tossed aside in a vacant lot, only to find a gatekeeper posting a fine, pay up, or get out.
Howdy, y'all. I'm from Houston, Texas. This one's called Bent Knee Cramp Arthritic Flow Poem of Youth. I can feel it up in there, where the back of the knee pockets a nugget of cartilage. It's tense, yet serene. It's tighter than an exposed scab. I press and press the calf using the girth of my Nintendo thumb. Right in the sweet spot, and a kite of jagged teeth rides up my leg to the hamstring. Woohoo! My toes feel like lightning forking through each phalange. People don't like to sit out of games, much less when it's their first time to meet people. But here I am, arms akimbo, on the bench, suffocating from my leg.
I'm the bee.
And the cool. And the cool.
Trying to sting you with my honey-laced words. And I just want to be me. Just want to be me. Completely, naturally head-bopping, mind-marveling, stargazing blush. Shaking that shake that slowly eases into a bzzz. Try it, taste it, the sweet of my gritty, pretty, pouncing words. Like honey toasted cashew beige, I'll take a stage and tell a tasty tale of poetry's rhythm. Blue words, blue words, blue words, set to sail. 'Cause I just want to be me.
Thank God for saving my life so I can be here with y'all tonight. I'm about to read you a piece called Letters to a Young Thug. Dear, your high begins with summer's opening of doors, with front stoops looking more like family reunions. The scent of fish fries makes the food plates out of dominoes and CeeLo dice games. An ice cream truck rocks its bell, signaling the start of correctional releases. The snap of ropes and cackling, little girls playing double dutch and hopscotch, a familiar mixture, like the song of a good friend's record making its way up the block, like the glow of street lamps, delayed arrival, a flickering of headlights before chrome is advertised. Brace yourself, a whole new day will uncage. Your best friend will no longer need his name. Dear, your initial reaction is a base grief. Heat authors calm to riot. Trees filled with metrical songs of cicadas, muffling your last gasp, last grasp, a phantom reach. Regret is the color of dimness. Know this, you did not love in vain. Your hurt is proof. Your silence is the silence of resting soil. A barrel and hammer egress awaits your thumb. Number of squeezes unknown. How fast hypnotics delivered to your brain will galvanize a course of action, ban the few of you that are left. An untruth. To love is to impugn fault, to punish. It's a fought living, this thug life. And the truth is, what they never tell you is, revenge never been proof of anybody's love. Dear, it's what they do. Corners, summarily, they die. Read the headline verbatim. It's all there. The names rolling off the edge of front pages are all names you know by heart. You push weight with them being ballers and shot callers. C notes brought y'all all sorts of appeal. Poised for retribution. White t-shirts revert light but not the heat. Your palm is moist as a mouth. This story is the story narrated with caskets. So well written, though mythical, it is prevalent. And the truth is, there is a form of grief that centers on topography. Being asked of you is to help lead the new high. Notice this, the headline is for measure. Remember the bling they copped, but also remember their premature exits. Young man, before you sign your name on that chalk outline, know this. The shape you mold your hand to hold a gun is the same shape as your hand to hold a pen, as the one to hold a cup, to cup your yarns or to lace your do-rag. It's a hard call. Know this. It's hard to know when motion brings loss, cost from the start. It's naughty if you're not taught bona fide truths about the world, how it doesn't owe you anything. Read this letter ad nauseum. Corners do what they do best. This test is rigid. Practice becomes moral. Brother, before you sign your name to that pavement, know this. This partnership is permanent. Thank you.
This is called Little Tit. Introduce yourself, represent yourself, testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. How do you want to introduce yourself? Allow me to introduce myself, represent myself. What's your name? Sherry. No, Cherry. I thought it was the other way around. Actually, it's Sherry. People think I say cherry, and I say it's sherry like the drink. But I like cherries, so in this song, I'm Cherry, and it goes something like this. Feel my energy, I'm Fantasyland. Little tit, I've got true spit, true grit, you'll see. Summer showers, country curves, East Coast intellect, all-girl power shower. How to start a romance in just 2 words? Cherry tree. Art the romance, strawberries and peaches and raspberries and cream with a cherry on top. I'm Fantasyland, I'm little tit, I've got true spit, true grit, you'll see. It's hip-hop, country style with a Marilyn Monroe dress, fans blowing, standing on a manhole, dress blowing, up, don't stop, pop. Surprise yourself, pop the perception, got reception, make the picture pop. Splash of color like a bikini in the snow, hot pop, cherry treetop, don't stop, spot. Spotlight, new height, microphone on, cherry treetop, go beyond, sing, art it, love you, love me. Meet me at the top of the cherry tree, treetop, don't stop, pop. Daisies aren't lazy, pop, don't stop, hot. Feel my energy, I'm Fantasyland. Little tit, I got true spit, true grit, you'll see. Hot pop, cherry treetop, don't stop, spot. Spotlight, new height, microphone on, cherry treetop, go beyond, sing it, art it, love you, love me. Meet me at the top of the cherry tree, treetop, don't stop, pop. Daisies aren't lazy, pop, don't stop, hot. What's your name? Sherry.
I'll take 4 minutes for peace. 4, right? Take 4 if you want. 4 minutes for peace. Take 4. There is no doubt. There is no doubt that all human conflicts can be resolved through peace. There is absolutely no doubt. Do not confuse me with the first Baptist. I am not the voice crying in the wilderness. I am of no religion. I am not from any political party, any government. I am not talking of a new war in the name of peace, and certainly not to be a martyr for that peace. It will not need that. Our world is hesitant and threatening. Wars, murders, injustices of all kinds trouble our planet. We create disasters, lack of knowing what best to do with our knowledge. We can deny it as much as we want, but our redemption resides in peace. It must be honest, that peace. It must explode in each of us as a last poem, or only hope, or redemption. I speak of the last poem to be written by means of reason, and not for utter funeral litanies, or utter legitimate calls for revenge. Peace is possible, and it's urgent. Take note. Peace is possible, and it's urgent. We have seen wars, for sure. For sure, peace will eliminate the coming ones. I speak of words that will speak. I speak of words that will speak. All these unified voices that will resume the march toward that supreme principle, time awaited. This huge thirst for peace has lasted for too long. I speak of a poem of labor to be born, a collective work undertaken with all the ends and the races, the arts and the reasons as well. Let's open wide the door of our humanity. Do not speak to me of utopia. Do not speak to me of utopia. The poem is not impossible. Take note. The poem is not impossible. The force of every drop fusing with one another forms the stream that goes pouring in the immensity of the ocean. The poem is not impossible. Please, please do not call the doctor. Do not call the doctor. The last revolution is called peace. The path leading to the silence of the canons. It's the last poem. It's the last poem. Take note. It's the last poem. Peace is essential to satisfy the thirst. The poem will multiply like grains of sand at the bottom of the ocean. And also the consciences will be cleansed. Cain and Abel, a murder in shame. David and Goliath, a murder in glory. May the intrigues stop. May the intrigues stop. I speak about the urgent need to change track. Real freedom will exist in our mutual trust. It has come the time to look and see the author in the self. Peace is possible and it's urgent. Peace is possible and it's urgent. Take note. There, the crowd gathers along the street, admiring perch on top of a skyscraper, the mom eagle feeding her young. On the other side of the border, prayers get lost in the cathedrals that lies in the rubbles. Peace will unite these relationships. The poem will be a symphony of hymns, laments, and the furious voices of the revolt. It will by no means be a cry for death. Peace is the urgent need that the hands that have abused join with those of the victims. Peace is the urgent need that the hands that have abused join with those of the victims. I speak of the poem that will carry your names all, that will emerge from us, and that will continue fueling our proper peace, which will be our compass, our work of art, our redemption. 4 minutes for peace. Thank you.
Yes, sir. This man.
Projects in front of me, projects behind. These obscure and obstructions capture my third eye in blindness and leave my thoughts never minded. Projects to the left of me, projects to the right. Such controlling constructions kill my far-sighted visions, limiting me to the enclosed blocks of cells of which I struggle to live and compose sentences. Each day on the same stoop I sit, defying the dosages of those doctoring deathly thoughts through simulated symptom relievers that only cause cramps, migraine headaches, heart palpitations, high fevers, and are making us amongst all believers in the United States of the American affluent. And these projects all around me have made me into a hangover having, chicken and chasing, cussing chumps, smoking and drinking just to get drunk, all until my head got dunked beneath the shitty waters of somebody else's murky muck. All until my man Earl picked my head back up and had me sitting, staring at a surrounding void of trees, feeling like a fly butting against the windows, trying to escape the confines it doesn't know how it got into. We must escape these blocks, confining the truths of our greatness growing roots beneath these cemented mountains of trash built upon our bare backs. I need to teach it to my students that they can fuel the revolution through their raps. But these projects up in these sim cities create a credit to cripple my crazed society. I can't buy a car better than the one that I'm already driving. And all my work strivings are for naught. Gambling my spirit's energy against capitalist casinos cheats me for my cash before I have the chance to earn it. And project plans of enhancing education through privatized prisons eradicates my soul's devotional motion. It's devouring my divine, leaving it downtrodden, and it forcefully forges my signature upon my forgotten checks of reparations. Damn. But these projects will rumble all around me when priceless, persistent pays per capita within this capital of consciousness, where capitalism kills picturesque prophecies preaching power to the people to make manifest the destinies that we're damned for denying. And all the while, they want to lie in unhappy mansions, soaking in oblivious pools, and like fools, they want to lead armies on contemporary colonial conquest among these mistaken Moors who have yet to give in. Until these project plans are placed into the empty palms of open hands and have all of us who have been outcasted screaming, projects crumbling and tumbling beneath the sound of stomping and romping and riding feet. I said projects crumbling and tumbling beneath the sound of stomping and romping and riding feet. Thank you.
Dusk was falling. I can still feel the heavy shawl of humid air draped over my shoulders, still smell the lilies in the school garden, still see the split-second glimpse of raw emotion in your bronze eyes as I roll down my shirt sleeves to cover the scars our conversation had turned neon bright. In the 2 years I had known you, that split second was the closest I ever got to seeing your lungs fill with words you never spoke to anyone before that night. I've never stopped thinking of that. It's hard to imagine you, 4,000 miles away, dark lager infused in the arms of a woman I will never measure up to, her buzzed head haloed in years of radical enlightenment. It's hard to imagine you now, after your transatlantic rebirth. You are a conundrum of convincing me to love myself and driving me with rejection down the road of wanting to change. You told me once that this moment is the very best we will ever have. I wonder what happened. What went wrong? What bird built its nest in the spiderweb cracks of your spun glass chest? When were you ever innocent? Were you a weary soul at 10 years old? Was your back bowed under stares and whispers and the long walk to the end of the lunch table? Would I have been the one you sat next to? Sometimes you appear as a lightning storm. Upper atmospheric circulation crashing into ground level ambivalence, static electricity shooting from your fingertips, catching us both, gasping like soldiers, drowning in a baptismal pool. Your hushed chanting of yes and the most beautiful swearing. We are 4,000 miles, 5 time zones and volumes full of tempests. Revolution. And it's wrong to say I love you when I know you won't love me. When the past 20 years sits on the tip of your tongue like an anvil to smother your vocabulary, and cynical cold rattles its way up your throat only to kamikaze pilot itself against the backs of your teeth. But there's something I need to tell you.
Welcome to Boston, to Cambridge. I'm glad it's a lot of people who are going to get to see what it is that we poets do and how we do it. This is a long and venerable tradition that goes back to the beginning of time when our ancestors used to be somehow out there telling stories after they had hunted something down and sat around a fire with meat dripping off their teeth. We're a little bit more sophisticated, but not by much, but we still got the same need. So dig it. Let's take it back to the dawn of time, before technology tamed the mind, when a man took his hands and began to clap, and that was the beginning of the boom, boom, bap. Let's take it back to the dawn of time, before technology tamed the mind. A woman started humming to an animal's call, and that was the beginning of the yes, y'all. A yes, yes, y'all. A yes, yes, y'all. It's like that, it's like that, it's like that, y'all. A yes, yes, y'all. A yes, yes, y'all. It's like that. Let's bring it up. So, once again, friends, here we come again. Needing to feel what it means to be skinned. Needing to feel the systole and the diastole getting rolled into poetry, funk, hop, and soul. We know the body has intelligence, the intellect cannot dismiss, a consequence of biocultural experience. But let's take a quick trip and get a sense of what it means to be a human being. Back in a time that we can't recall, our ancestors drummed in the hum of night. Up under these same stars they believed were gods that shine down as they danced by the firelight. Their bodies cast in shadows, voices grunting, imitating animals they would be hunting on the next day to provide sustenance for the tribe. This was a ritual intended to recognize life is born of death. Like sunrise and set cycles from east to west, drums would beat, beat began to step, moving from right to left. The men left as the chants began to rise from the women's breath. Yo, now you know how music calls the blood. It's been this way since we crawled from the mud. An ancient thing banging in the body and mind. We've been grooving to people since the dawn of time. So check it, let's take it back to the dawn of time, before technology tamed the mind. A man took his hands and began to clap, and that was the beginning of the boom, boom, bap. Let's take it back to the dawn of time, before technology tamed the mind. A woman started humming to an animal's call, and that was the beginning of the yes, y'all. A yes, yes, y'all. Yes, yes, y'all. It's like that, it's like that, it's like that, y'all. Yes, yes, y'all. Yes, yes, y'all. It's like that. Y'all feeling okay? We're gonna do this slam thing, right? It's a beautiful thing. Keep it going. Keep it going. It's a beautiful thing we got happening. I've been living here for about 10 years waiting on this, right? For us to give praise, give thanks for what it means to be one with the word. You know what I mean? So dig it. Whether Irish or English or Spanish, Danish or Swedish, Polish, Russian or Turkish, Italian, German or Kurdish, Japanese or Assyrian, Javanese or Armenian, Portuguese or Hungarian, Hebrew, Zulu, Bavarian, it don't matter the tongue you speak, languages have a beat. The body instinctively can translate into music. See, what science has found is we are creatures of sound, that our ears need to seek rhythmic patterns in human speech. Like the words I'm spitting, you hear the rhythm that's in them, even before you get a hint of the content I'm kicking. Yeah, you first think nothing of it but the verbal percussion. Drums inside your head and then your blood begins rushing. Your pulses get to throbbing, your head begins to bobbing. You feeling the effect of what the rhythm's been plotting. It's gotten you to synchronize alpha waves and realize rhythm's more than music, but structurally it underlies each and every atom to plasma scattered on Saturn.
Every stage of matter's organized in patterns that are architectonic. Everything has a tonic, everything has a cycle, everything has a phonic. All life depends upon it. We're engineered to want it. This thing that refrains, remains, comes back, is chronic. This thing that haunts us all like a ghost in the mind. We've been dancing with y'all since the dawn of time. Check it, let's take it back to the dawn of time. Before technology tamed the mind, a man took his hands and began to clap, and that was the beginning of the boom, boom, bap. Let's take it back to the dawn of time. Before technology tamed the mind, a woman started humming to an animal's call, and that was the beginning of the yes, y'all. Yes, yes, y'all. Yes, yes, y'all. It's like that, it's like that, it's like that, y'all. Like that, y'all. Like that, y'all. It's like that, it's like that, it's like that, y'all. Yes, yes, y'all. It's like that, y'all. Like that, it's like that, it's like that, y'all. Yes, yes, y'all. Yes, yes, y'all. It's like that'll be like that. Thank you all for bringing the slam to my town.
Is Portland, Oregon in the house? Yeah, a little bit? All right. Well, I wrote this kind of for you guys while I was out there. It's a little bit of fiction. Migrating to Portland. I stood up to introduce myself without a finger's grasp on the language being spoken in the room. Hello! My name is Thumb Sawyer. I have been a member of the Animal Defense League for an amount of time too short from an evolutionary perspective to be said to have transpired. My favorite animal is the hedgehog. But the group had begun to bristle. The wood duck asked me to leave. Out on 12th and Stark, the night was brisk and milky. The shape of a well-familiar hedgehog emerged from the park across the street, and I crossed over, hoping she would recall nibbling from my hands, but she must have hopped that cage long ago. She had grown 7 feet taller and may never have seen me wearing glasses. The hiss that she let out deafened me for an amount of time during which no evolution was likely to have occurred. Back into the brush she fled, the newly wild hedgehog of my past. Next time the question arose, I decided I would say manatee, or possibly wood duck. Every time I say the word hedgehog, I instinctively leak admittedly toxic ink from my admittedly dead eyes. Thank you.
The Awakening of Words, the Poet's Prize. That's good, that's good. It's two tones like saxophones, a poet clearing his throat before he grabs the mic and you grab the remote and change the channel. But not this time. I'm gonna make words swim around in blue note waves. I'm gonna kick down the doors of this twisted maze that keeps people hating. I want to replace the words that make us all cringe to beautiful things. Wishing hate to disappear, wishing love to reappear in music. It's the words of a poet when he sings a ballad, or the jazz man who just lets them all have it, or an MC who really rocks a mic who hits you so hard it does damage, leaving lyrical heart attacks from the Pacific to the Atlantic. Just some dude who really lets out all regret with each step, be it the mic, the pen, or the music that he writes. Putting it down to change the way life goes, because the fight isn't between foes, it's between those who know and those who don't. It's between the ones that fight for change and the ones who decide to stay the same.
Homegirls talk, hands embracing hips, brothers jiving, shouts of raw temper, footsteps of mortals crawling to your window like a spider. Shoo up, bop, bebop, hip hop, rap, jazz, doo-bop. Your music, Miles, is a bridge, a red liquid flowing in my brain. Now, go ahead, dip the chip into chocolate, lick, finger, let the brew blow, a high-speed chase, a boxer with a split-second punch. Sometimes your trumpet is a feather brushing a nipple.
Yes, indeed. I think I need a cigarette.
Sex. Sex is an oily crankshaft, a slipping piston, a mouth softly chewing, a horse trotting on a river's edge. Sex is bodies intertwined in rivulets of sweat, forming a biological sauna. Sex is the multi-rhythmic sliding finger sign on a Haitian Congo drum. Sex is the host place on a Christian tongue. It is a baked corn on the cob served in one's palm. It is a harvest of caress in a plantation of love. It is a French kiss with melted milk chocolate. Sex is the scream of ecstasy reaching climax like an electrical sensation jarring the V-tip. It is the citadel's capitulation by the libido's cadets. It is a cat licking clean a Nestle's milk can. It is the strawberry lips sucking on a grape popsicle. It is the slow filling of cavities. Sex is a universe of chair de poule after the first caress. It is the first drop of rain on a parched earth. It is beads of perspiration snaking the crevices of bare backs. It is your eyelids slightly shut, dreaming of paradise. Sex is life's natural dialogue, a communion of souls, and a vibration of bliss in the garden of our existence. Thank you.
Mr. Patrick.
Pay. Somber elapses of trespasses and cool relapses of axes of blind riddles. Time dwindles, life full of answerless riddles, stuck in the middle of a field of hard times, sublime. Rookie to the art of torture. Make with what you have and what you found the most of. It's a roller coaster. Sometimes what you have is what you have a little. Days go like a fast. It's all a past, favor a thimble. And sight to where would the end go. As nights ties accrue darkness. Apartheid, man, we got the lifeline of genocide, and who could stop this? As little girls rush and play with grown men. Now her belly is grown when another out of wedlock, premature in time, by a nigga who thought with his dick and not with his mind. And a youngin' let it compelled by her pussy. Bred and thought to be worthless, they're hurting, and who could stop this? As little ones grow up fast, wanna be hard, so we pick up the gun and blast. Blaming on the mamas not kicking their ass. Spare the rod, spoil the child of a child. It takes the village to raise the children of men, but rather it's alone to begin, so we can't win, cause we turn to blind eye when it begins, so where does it end?
Not all of my poems spew my innermost dreams and nightmares like Jackson Pollock words centered around wise themes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We've got a poet on the mic. Y'all open up your ears and close your mouth.
Not all of my words. Not all of my poems spew my innermost dreams and nightmares like Jackson Pollock words centered around wise themes of love, sex, death, grief. Sometimes my poems are about slivers of spontaneous joy, the cool silk of grass perfect for reading, my grandfather's toes dancing to Frank Sinatra, raindrops flickering across the window of a speeding car, my brother's gapped smile after the tooth fairy visits, the familiar freckle on my love's eyelids when he's sleeping. Some days, those are the only things worth writing about. And this one is called The Fourth Graduation. Before my 8th grade graduation, I pulled on my dress and smiled tearfully in the mirror, still thinking it was us against the world. Before my high school graduation, I found the dents in my skull fit my forefinger tenderly into the grooves. Some were from you. You wanted to know the details of the ceremony, but I couldn't write that in a letter to the county jail. I couldn't write anything I wanted to say. How when I left a year ago, I wanted you to give up drinking. Prove you wanted to stay in my life. You weren't supposed to steal and get thrown in a place where I couldn't hug you, couldn't fix you. Now, before my college graduation, I finger the dents in my skull. If I press a little, they still hurt. You'll see me walk across the stage knowing I did this without you, knowing I remember where each scar came from, and I still want you there because you haven't touched a drop in years, and you have your own apartment, and you did it all without me.
Hollywood holds the runaway children. Every morning, a few of them step off the bus for the first time, clutching backpacks stuffed with clothes and photographs of their abandoned families, the lost who shiver in their typical reaching for the projector's burning flicker, the undying electric marquee, the brilliant swallow of the valley, thick with smog. They enter me like lovers, settle in my breast like a hive of tender bees, wings buzzing with the memory of home, uncertain of their place inside this fabulous neon heart, but thirsty. Oh, so thirsty. They sell their mother's jewelry. They put on uniforms. They serve popcorns to your children's. They park cars, they open doors, they answer telephones. They guide you to your seats with the solemn march of palace guards. Now watch how they hold the low-slung shaft of light at their side like a blade of mundane hope. Watch it pierce the ordinary dark.
Lucifer to the Almighty, before sunrise or sunset or season, I seduced you. Darkness, I am light. You are lead and nickel and space so distant I can't reach between your molecules. I am hydrogen fusing into helium, infinite energy. You could extinguish me with a thought, but I offer 1,001 senses. I can't fill all your emptiness, but let me linger in your hollows. On the first day I bared my desires, I long to create new worlds from our bodies. I'll carve out my right eye to sun a system of 8 revolving teeth, whittle my shin bone into smaller spheres to orbit each extracted molar, all twirling bloody wonder. Your rays frenzy them as my outstretched shadows offer rest. Millions of revolutions past, I exclaimed, life like us emerges in our creation, squirms through saliva oceans, choosing to turn left or right. 6,000 revolutions before this moment, I begged. In the garden, I disobeyed. Once, creatures shaped like you crawled from the bleeding shards of my mouth. I planted fruit to grow voices within them. I know you, Almighty. You are trembling that our children will become wiser than we are. Forgive me. Don't cast me out. 127 revolutions ago, I accused you. You have built millions of electric light bringers since I first crossed the void to find you. Dust and emptiness. Your modern angels are more beautiful than me now. My body gapes where I carved out our children. Please stop telling our young ones that I engineer their suffering. You don't have to love me. You don't have to take me back, but acknowledge our intertwined timelessness. Darkness, you run scared when I approach, flickering meek in a candle flame. Almighty, muster the decency to greet me. And now I grieve within myself for 6,000 revolutions. I have listened for a faltering syllable. My remaining eye fixates for a welcoming twitch of your eyebrow. My elements are heavy with separation, so soon I will be lead and nickel and distance.
Sounds like Barry White meets Marvin Gaye. Deep like Barry's soul, like Marvin Dash's way. A black man who's perfected his craft. He kicked it for Lucille, left me ready to cry. That was about a guitar thing? I'm like, damn, every time he opens his mouth to say something.
This blood is so thick, it trudges through my veins, and now I am weighed down by this blood. It speaks. Sit here and wait for life to pass. This blood is heavy. It will keep you feet on the ground. It will regulate your steps. This blood is your father's wishes. Stay quiet and listen, for this blood will be your guide. Never worry yourself, for this blood will speak for you. Beware, this blood is strengthened by few and weakened by many. Obey this blood. You will cry this blood. This blood is your birthright.
Badass, bold in his stance, his words with ease one understands. Smooth, concise, sweet and nice, fresh with a dope b-boy style of dress. Wow, how did he get so good? Spoken word must be hot in his hood. Wide-eyed, I drop everything when he opens up his mouth to say something.
This blood is my resting place. It is thick and sometimes stifling, yet this blood is comforting. God damn it. But thank God this blood is home.
Thank you.